and they embody it. Ideally, you want to have both. In an ideal world, you want them to have memorization, and you want them to have a deep understanding of what revelation means, and asking those critical questions. So we don't want to fall into the dichotomy of like memorization is one thing, understanding is two separate things. We want to kind of bring them together.
I think the Islamic educational system, as from pre-modern times until now, is supposed to be a system that fulfills the aims of the Islamic education system. So what are the aims? So obviously the ultimate, we want to produce, the educational system should produce personalities,
Yeah,
shakhsiyat, um, who think from the Islamic worldview, the aqidah of Islam, and they behave according to the sublime, values and qualities and ideas of Islam. So they
mhm,
think and behave like Muslims. I know it sounds a bit obvious, but I think that so the formation, the takween al-shakhsiyya al-islamiyya is got to be one of the aims of the Islamic education. So people come out thinking like a Muslim, according to their worldview, behaving like a Muslim. So their thoughts and their behaviors is shaped by the creed of Islam. Then I think one of the other aims of the Islamic education system, and you touched on this a bit, was yes, preservation and transmission of the Islamic culture, the thaqafa Islamiyya. So the study of aqidah, the fiqh, hadith, Arabic, all the ulum al-shari'iyya that we call that relate to our worldview. And then of course seerah and Islamic history. I think the Islamic education system has to preserve that Islamic culture, i.e.
mhm.
our theology, our law, our ethics, our history, our sciences, and that is the identity, that culture, that thaqafa is like a backbone of our identity as a people, as a ummah. Then I think the Islamic education system has to have some form of empowerment. The education system's got to produce individuals who are scholars. Definitely we need ulama, fuqaha, but we also need ulama in the sense of scientists. We need professionals
Of course.
who can lead, right? Because you can lead the ummah, politically, intellectually, scientifically on the world stage.
Yes.
That empowerment has got to be there. And finally, and I think you mentioned this, and I think probably that must be the ultimate supreme goal of all Muslims is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The education system's got to it's got to cultivate in the individual the desire for Allah's pleasure, but at the same time the ability to engage the world, right? So
Yes.
balancing this,
Of course.
yeah, this akhirah vision and drive towards that supreme goal, which is Allah's pleasure, but
Yeah.
also the practical worldly skills
Yeah.
required to live in the world. So I
Absolutely.
think, yeah, so I think the Islamic education system needs those four things.
Absolutely. And when we say the pleasure of God, I mean
Yeah,
it's an ideal. It's not concrete. And so you can acquire the pleasure of God by becoming a political leader, a political
absolutely.
scientist.
Absolutely.
You can do it in many, many fields. But for some reason, I mean, for reasons that we're discussing also,
Mm,
we've said that you can only become successful if you're a certain type of Muslim. But that doesn't make sense historically speaking, and both in light of the Quran
right.
and Sunnah. Um, we see the companions, may God's peace and blessing be upon all of them, and the Tabi'een and the successful generation after all of them, they
Yeah.
all excelled in different fields. Because, like I said right at the beginning, it was a prophet, alayhi salatu, who was unique, right?
Right.
After that, it's like everybody excels in different fields, whether it's hadith, fiqh, military. We need military generals. We need people
Yep.
in the
Yep.
army. We need people in science. We need different people in different fields. So we see this in early on in Islamic civilization. And you talked about thaqafatul Islamiyya, which is the idea of Islamic culture. We don't really study this stuff anymore. I mean, we don't study culture anymore. There are books written on it. I mean, I was just translating a paper by Maulana Nurul Hassan Kandilwi with Maulana Uwais
Mm,
Kamazi. We're going to publish inshallah ta'ala.
inshallah.
And it's fascinating, the sort of sciences they were studying, literature, poetry, ethics. They were studying these sciences, and they were ready for civil service. They were ready to go out and make a difference in the world. And even if you look at people like to, go to these popular lectures on Salahuddin Ayyubi,